All right, we're back for another episode. How are you feeling today?
Yes, yeah. Just ready to get
Yeah,
started, I suppose, and keep pushing on.
yeah, well, it's been a week here. We've just had Cyclone Alfred come through, which it's left a lot of people in a really crappy situation. Luckily, we've been really, really fortunate. I think our power went out for about 15 seconds and that was it. Thank God. But there's quite a lot of people out there that have been affected by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our last episode, we explored the power of a strong vision, mission, and core values in shaping a business. We broke down how these elements guide decision making, strengthen brand identity, and drive long term success. And we also shared some real world examples of companies that just get it right. In today's episode, we'll be diving into psychology of marketing, why people buy, understanding consumer behavior, and exploring psychological triggers behind purchasing decisions, power of emotion, and social proof in gaining trust and urgency. So yeah, looking really forward to this episode. In high school, I did psychology, and when I went into doing marketing, you could feel it was really beneficial, and you can really see how there's a correlation between psychology and marketing. I think if you're going to do any degree, you should do a double degree and do psychology and marketing because
Yeah,
they do come hand in
absolutely.
hand.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got a bachelor's degree in business and a postgrad diploma in marketing with B2B. But to be honest, I think most of the books that I've read are actually or books about psychology, and
Yeah,
how and persuasion, I suppose, really to get people to think the way that you want them to think and to make that purchasing decision, you know?
yeah, yeah. Well, it's no secret when people buy, it's all based on emotion first, and then they try and justify it with logic.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, which is why most effective marketing doesn't just focus on features or price. It taps into the feelings and really drives your emotions to create an action. So there's multiple different types of emotional triggers that influence consumer behavior in different unique ways. A couple of those are fear, desire, trust, belonging. So fear, so when people feel at risk, they go to seek a solution that provides security and peace of mind.
That's correct, yeah. And of course, a good example of that would be, home security companies who kind of emphasise the potential dangers and they try and push the urgency. Insurance providers are another perfect example of that, who highlight the protection for uncertain times and things that might happen, and of course might not. So yeah, really interesting fear.
Yeah, I think fear is quite a big one that you can kind of not play on, but do play on, I guess, because you do always have that fear of the unknown, of what if, what could be,
That's right.
um, which yeah, which a lot of people tend to just do just in case, and at least they have it. And
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, we own three houses over two different countries. We have home insurance or buildings insurance for two of them, and building insurance and contents insurance for the other one. And to be honest, uh, we never, even if there's an issue, we never actually claim against the insurance. But
yeah,
you can bet your bottom dollar that if we didn't have insurance, something would happen, like the
yeah,
house would burn down or something. And if that happened, then you know, goodness knows how you'd be able to recover for that if you never had the buildings insurance. So it is worth thinking about it, but being on the other end of that, where you're trying to sell the insurance and playing on people's fear, helps persuade them, if you like,
mm,
for to sign up to that insurance, which
yep,
is relative to them. So
yeah. The next one is desire, which is tapping into longing for something better, whether that's status, beauty, or success.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone desires new things all the
Better,
time.
yeah.
I mean, I'm always looking for the next. Maybe no, it might be an age thing actually. Like when I was younger, I was always wanting the new car. I was always wanting the newest BMW, the new house, and this kind of thing. And those are what people kind of aspire to. Um, or desire, if you like. Not that it's really things that are required in your life. I suppose it's more about the status symbols. I feel like
Yeah.
I've
How
made
it
it.
makes you feel, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of luxury brands like Rolex and Chanel, they don't just sell products. What they sell is the lifestyle, the prestige, and of course, fitness programs showcase before and after transformations to appeal and desire for self improvement.
Yeah.
So yeah, desires are a really big one.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, I think, like, especially within the fitness programs, if you've got a before and after, like, this is what you could be doing, this is where you could be, but you know it's not. And
Mhm.
obviously, everybody wants to be better,
Yeah,
whether
hundred
whether
percent.
they're willing to go through it or not. Third one is trust. So consumers always want to feel confident in their purchases. So brands can establish that credibility through transparency and reliability, which does in the long term build loyalty.
That's right, and I think from a marketing perspective, the whole trust thing and the brand marketing is what a lot of businesses need to actually consider and focus on. A lot of smaller businesses always seem to opt for, lead generation. We need money right now, rather than actually investing in brand, which is a longer term approach, but would actually be more beneficial for them.
Yeah,
And things that help with that are things like requesting customer testimonials. You can get influencer endorsements. You can get certifications similar to, like, say, clinically proven or trusted by experts. And this all kind of boosts trust and makes customers feel safe choosing your brand over your competitors.
yeah,
And this is another reason why businesses should be investing in content. Every business nowadays needs to be a media company, right? They need to be doing podcasts like this. They need to be writing content, not just for SEO, but to answer questions that a lot of customers are asking. And if their brand is answering the question, then their brand is building that emotional connection with the prospective customers, and it'll be their brand that gets chosen over the competitors. And it's absolutely a no-brainer.
yeah. And that is 100% how you build that trust. We see it a lot with our clients where we start writing all this content and then they have a whole library of answered questions that people are asking in their field.
That's
And
right.
then you start to see that people start searching up their brand name as opposed to the question to look for
Correct.
the answer, which in turn just grows your company.
That's right.
Yeah.
100%.
And then the last one is belonging. So people crave connection and a sense of identity, which is why brands build communities. And that is a huge one. Everybody, whether you admit it or not, everybody wants to be a part of something. So
Yeah.
building a community first approach with your business, just I think 9 times out of 10, probably 10 out of 10 works wonders.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, this is something that Adonis is going to be doing as well, building a community around everything that we do and can offer and help people grow their businesses. And we'll be doing that by offering the tools and the expertise and everything needed for our customers to do exactly that. But yeah, I mean, another couple of examples would be like Nike's Just Do It campaign,
Yeah,
which makes customers feel like they're part of a movement, which is what you want. You want them to feel like they're actually part of something bigger than themselves. And then of course, you've got Apple, for instance, that fosters brand loyalty by creating an exclusive Apple ecosystem that connects users through shared experiences. I mean, we spoke about this on a previous podcast, where, as soon as I went Mac, I just did not go back to Microsoft at all whatsoever, because Mac is, I mean, everything that my whole ecosystem runs, and life, I suppose, runs on Mac, so they're a couple of brands that are really good at that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So by leveraging like these emotional triggers, your brand can craft powerful marketing messages that go beyond just selling a product or service. It creates that long-lasting connection that really drives customer loyalty in action. So going on to the next bit, so cognitive biases that influence buying behavior. People like to think that making rational purchasing decisions, but in reality, our brains rely on cognitive shortcuts that influence what we buy and why. Understanding different psychological biases can help your business craft more effective marketing strategies that will guide consumer behavior. And consumer behavior is changing all the time. So this is something that you need to constantly be, learning and updating as well.
100%.
So different cognitive biases that drive my buying decisions. There's five. So you've got social proof, scarcity and urgency, anchoring effect, reciprocity, and loss aversion. So first one is social proof, and it's pretty much the power of following the crowd.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go visit any website, ours included, you should see social proof points throughout the website, which include things like testimonials. It's even better if you can actually get video testimonials. Those work far, far better. And also, it's always a good idea as well to make sure that when you're getting testimonials that you actually get real the person who's provided that testimonial, that you get their real
Yeah.
photograph, because I've seen so many testimonials that have had you know
AI.
AI or photographs that have just been overused on a bazillion different websites, but it's really powerful stuff, um, and people tend to trust others, when they're actually buying things as well, assuming that if something that is popular, then clearly it must be good. So if you've got hundreds of testimonials, I mean, so I suppose sometimes if you've got hundreds and there's nothing in there that kind of goes against the grain a little, it might seem a bit manufactured. And I suppose since we're talking about that, that's another thing to think about when you're getting bad reviews, for instance, on Google. Bad reviews can actually work out really well if they're managed properly, because it shows that you're actually a company that's got human beings at the other side, that you aren't perfect, but you do go out your way to to rectify issues that arise. But social proof is so important.
Yeah, 100%. And just going on that testimonials, I think it's not a bad thing to have, bad testimonials, but it's all in how you respond.
Correct.
Because I've seen different companies reply and be like, switch the blame and be like, no, it was you, this was you. And you look at it and you go, oh gosh, why would I want to go here if that's how you're acting in your Google reviews replies.
Yeah, and
Your Google reviews replies need to be positive,
that's right.
provide an outcome. Okay, give me a call. Let's sort this out. We can, if you're a restaurant, we'll give you a free meal on us. We're really sorry about your experience. We'd love to, you know, make up for our bad experience, because nobody's perfect, and you are going to have days where, some things might not be working, and yeah, but it is all in how you approach the situation.
That's correct, 100%. I mean, actually, in fact, going back to the restaurant analogy you used there, I was out with Nicola on our anniversary when we just arrived in Mackay after emigrating to Australia, and it was probably the worst experience I've ever experienced in any restaurant. It was that bad that we didn't actually eat there. Um, and I sent an email to the owner the next day, which is something I normally wouldn't have done. But that's how bad it was. I didn't submit a review right enough. Um, and they did actually come back and say, come in and we'll actually provide you with a new meal and we'll make that experience better. We never took them up on it, but I did actually ask, will there be a free bottle of wine included as well? Now, the answer to that was no. If the answer to that was to be yes, I would have went back in and had the experience, had the bottle of wine, which would have cost them probably cost price about $15, right?
If that.
If that. But that would have meant that they've not just rectified the issue, but would have gained a new customer who would
Yeah.
not only have went back there to to eat again and things like that, but would actually tell other people how great an experience that they had. And I think that's what a lot of businesses miss when they're doing things like this. That yeah, it might be something out of pocket, maybe $50, but you could be saving yourself your business. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 100%. And even going on the restaurants thing. So on Monday, when we had all the outages and everything, me and Tal went to go to the gym. It was closed. We're like, no. So we drove to another gym. It was also closed. So we're like, okay, clearly this is a sign not to go to the gym. So we're like, well, last week we didn't have a cheap meal. Usually we have a cheap meal. So we're like, let's go to one of the pubs and we'll get a feed. So we're like, all right. So we go to one of the pubs in Manly. We walk in. It's like 6:30 p.m. The guy at the door IDs me. And he's like, you look too young to be in here. First of all, you don't need to ID to come into a restaurant, and you don't need to ID any venue until 10 p.m. I said, oh, look, I don't have my ID on me. He's like, no, well, you can't come in. And I was like, well, why can't I not come in? Anyways, going on to that. We ended up getting in, sat down, ordered everything. We were just sitting there. She brought out the Coke no sugar. We were sitting there drinking. Took about 40 minutes to get some chicken wings. They were pretty average. And then about an hour and a half to get this steak, chips, and salad.
And
The
was it
steak
busy?
takes a bit. No, it wasn't busy at all. And I had to go ask the bar staff. I was like, like, when's this food coming out? It's been an hour and a half. It's a bit, come on. He brought the food out. Now, if the food was good, I would have been like, all right, whatever, an hour and a half.
Worth the
We've
effort,
waited it.
yeah.
Well, yeah. The food came out. The chips were cold. When you get sauce and you can see a film over it where
Yeah,
it's
so it's
been
been
out.
sitting for
Yeah.
a while.
So it's been sitting out there, yeah.
That's not good.
So it came out, and then Tao usually gets his like rare, medium rare, and I get mine's like medium well done. His came out like full well done, like it was yeah. And then that was the straw. I was like, nah, let's get our money back because I don't even want to eat here anymore. After an hour and a half, and then I was so upset and angry about it that I ended up writing a review, and I was like, yeah, 1 star, I wouldn't go and eat there again. And if someone replied to that, so
So it's not been
obviously it
managed.
was not. It was a nice review, just saying how it went, and the bar staff were beautiful, so it wasn't their fault. But
Yeah.
that's still a crappy experience. So we ended up coming home and just cooking, which saved us $80. And that was the thing too. The steaks cost $50 a pot. So you'd
Goodness.
expect either the service or the food to be good. And that's the thing when you're running a restaurant, you either need to provide an experience or the food needs to be banging, or both.
But I
Is
think I
the
think
best
that
option.
I think it needs to be a good experience. I mean, the food is part and parcel of that, not just for restaurants, but every business. But I mean, in terms of going back to the review not being responded to, that's a big problem in business as well, where reputation is not managed, and it's such a massive thing, especially when it comes to things like social proof.
Yeah, 100%. Because even if I'm going somewhere and I look at the reviews and, some people said, oh, it's been crap, but they've rectified it and said, okay, like, come in, we'll redo this, we're really sorry, maybe they've got a chef that's just left, someone's new, could be anything, then I'd be more inclined to be like, all right, well, we'll give it a try. Yeah. Yeah. Going on to the next one, we've got scarcity and urgency. So this is creating FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah, so a lot of businesses do this with a lot of e-commerce businesses and things do this as well, where what they do is they put like things like a time limited ability for somebody to buy something. You've
You've got 20% off for the next 2 hours, if you
That's right,
buy
or even
this.
less than that. You've got 30 minutes, etc., etc. So it gives people that FOMO effect, which is a fear of missing out. Damn, I better buy this now, or I'm going to miss this discount, or I'm going to miss
Yeah.
this sale, and it's just really to try and get that urgency of people actually purchasing. Even when they say things like, there's only 8 available, you know, chances are that 8 available has been available for the last 2 or 3 days. But when new people are coming on your site and they see that, that's a prime example of the FOMO effect.
Yeah. I've been caught out from FOMO a few times. Sometimes I'll just go on, or like activewear is probably a big one. I'll go into my activewear and I'll be like, oh yeah, I need like some new gym clothes. And I'll be like, oh, $80 for just a crop top, I'm alright. But then it'll say 30% off for the next 3 hours. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get it now then. Even though it probably cost them about $5 to make,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I suppose, I mean, I know that you went and bought that new camera today, so
which
that
is
that is essentially
amazing.
that is essentially like a FOMO there as well. Where there's only one left in
Well,
the Brisbane area. So
the Canon G7X is um out of stock for the next 8 months minimum, and then the Canon PowerShot SX740 was 3 to 6 month wait. So this was a new Panasonic Lumix TZ99, which actually just came out at the start of March, I think. And so far it's been really good. So
good.
it's a good purchase, I guess. Third is anchoring effect. So how pricing strategies shape perceived value.
Yeah, so people rely heavily on the first piece of information that they see when they're making decisions, and this is called anchoring. Um, Now, generally, what you would do with anchoring is, well, in actual fact, you could actually talk about framing here as well, where you can actually frame the product, um, so that when you anchor the price to that product, that it seems like the value is perceived higher than what the anchored price actually is. And a prime example of this is when, say, for instance, you go to like a software as a service business where you're buying software. It could be SEM Rush, it could be whatever it is, right? And what happens is they basically what they basically do is that they actually show you a list of different features that come with a specific price. So you'll have like good, best, or better, and each one will have their own information for that particular um,
Package.
package, is the word I was looking for. And so what happens is then you would essentially anchor that price to that package. So what you're doing is you're showing the perceived value within the list of items and features that you get for that particular price, and that's essentially what the anchoring effect is.
Yep. Fourth is reciprocity. So give value first, gain loyalty later. I think this is a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is a prime example of what we were talking about earlier by helping people with their questions. So if someone's, say for instance, you were a solar company, um, you could do some research, find out what people are searching in Google and other search engines and through social media, what the common questions are. And basically what you do is you would write articles and content that answers those questions. Not only will that improve your SEO, but what it does is it actually allows you to give value to the prospective customer, right?
Yeah.
Now, what happens there is there's a reciprocity of value being exchanged. So, and this is the whole thing about writing the content and doing this from a brand perspective in terms of brand marketing, whereby you're giving the prospect the value and the information that they're looking for. They feel almost like obligated to use your services, but it's actually through goodwill, and them feeling like that they're getting something from your brand. So
Yep.
when it comes to their purchasing decision, they're going to go with the brand that's helped them, the brand
Yeah.
that's provided the answers. So
Yeah.
that's essentially what reciprocity is in marketing.
Yeah. I think that is a really, really good one. And I go by you get what you give. And I think it's a really good one. Last one is loss aversion. So the fear of losing is more powerful than the desire to gain.
Yeah, so people are more motivated to avoid loss than to achieve an equivalent gain. So marketers need to use that principle to drive decision making. So what that's all about is really about agitating their pain, right? Um, and I know there's a few different marketing frameworks, like ADA, AIDA, and things like that, which essentially, and you should do this within your website as well, whereby when you've got a solution to a particular problem, you need to actually agitate the problem that they've got essentially before
Providing the solution.
showing
Yeah.
the solution. Um, and the whole point of loss aversion is, you know, is it's what I suppose is one of these things where uh, the fear of losing something is more. It's going to drive that decision more than what it is by actually gaining something of
Yeah.
equivalent value.
Yeah. Which is playing on the emotional trigger of fear there. By leveraging these different cognitive biases, like businesses can create marketing strategies that feel natural and compelling, guiding customers towards decisions without them even realizing it. Going on to the next bit, so brands, how these different brands apply psychological principles. So understanding psychology is one thing, but actually applying it effectively is what separates great brands from the rest. So in this section, we'll explore how the top companies integrate buyer psychology into their marketing strategies. And most of these you won't even realize until we point them out. So we've got Amazon. Amazon are great at using the art of urgency and social proof. And you'll see this when you're going on, in some of their products, only X left in stock.
That's correct.
Yeah. And that's driving you to go, oh, crap, there's only 8 left in stock. I need to get this now before it sells out. Or there's only 3. I'm going to be one of those 3 that gets this product.
Yeah, I mean that again is like the FOMO effect, and the fear of missing out. You've only got X left, or lightning deals with countdown timers and things like that. Um, uh, Whereas it's actually making them feel like they're going to miss out if they don't make that decision right now. You've also got other things like social proof, which is reinforcing trust. Where and Amazon is really good at this, which is why we're talking about Amazon.
Yeah.
But customer reviews, with X amount of people are viewing this right now, so they can tell you how many people are actually viewing the product.
Yep.
And they've also got like Prime membership as well, which is a bit like the reciprocity, where they're giving value up front with free shipping and making customers loyal. And I am a Prime member, and I think it's as cheap as chips. I mean, I buy like, I must buy about 30, 40, maybe 60 books a year. Not that I'm reading every single one of them in that 1 year, right enough, but I'll try. But I think Prime membership's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah. Another thing they do is limited time offers. I think they change that daily, if I'm correct. Don't quote me on that. And that, yeah, there's just a wide range of different stuff that's, on sale, which makes a lot of people think, oh, what's on today? Let me jump on Amazon and see what I can get for a good deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Next one is Apple, and we've talked about Apple quite a lot with the exclusivity and the power of their simplicity. So they actually do the anchoring effect where they have high price models, which makes the standard models seem like, a bargain.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
you've got the pro models, I think they're like, what, 2.5 grand or something. And then the one under that's like 1,600. But there's not too much of a difference besides, I think, camera quality. So when you look at that and then look at the normal iPhone, say 16, you think, oh gosh, that's quite cheap compared to the, top one.
Hey, listen, I chose an iPhone SE, so I mean that's
Okay.
even less than $1,000.
Yeah.
So you know,
They also do the aspirational branding, so they position Apple products as a status symbol, making
okay.
consumers feel like a part of an elite group, pretty much.
That's right.
Um,
And it was actually Steve Jobs that integrated this
yeah,
into the brand, and it's just been perfect.
yeah, it's stuck with them ever
Yeah,
since. Yep. And then they also do the minimalist design and messaging, which reduces decision fatigue and kind of makes choices easy as well.
that's right.
You will see that through different brands, through different phones that they have. There isn't too much of a difference between them all, if we're being honest, besides the design and probably the technology that's used. Does obviously, as technology gets better, so do the phones.
Yeah, I think really, I mean, in terms of the iPhone, I mean, I think it's really the camera that's the biggest thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you get a faster chip and things like that, but
And
it's
the
it's all
AI.
it's all based on the camera, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Going on to a really good one, which I don't think we've spoken on this company yet, is Coca-Cola. So they use emotional storytelling. They go into the happiness and the nostalgia of having a Coke Zero or a Coke with your friends, because they use campaigns like share a Coke or
Yeah,
holiday ads trigger that emotional connection. This holiday season, let's share a Coke together.
that's
Share a
right.
Coke with your family and friends.
Yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
you've got other brands as well, like I am Brew bars, I am Brew over in Scotland, a favourite of mine, of course. And their ads are just absolutely top notch. So anybody listening to this, if you do a search for the I am Brew adverts, even going back to the 1970s, which is where they date back to. I think it was 1979 was one of the first ones. The storytelling in them are absolutely brilliant,
Yeah.
right through up until now, and they're funny as well, and they've got the Scottish wit about them as well. So yeah, fantastic. But
Yeah.
Coca Cola done exactly the same thing with their Christmas adverts and things like that. So you tend to expect now as it comes as Christmas is getting nearer or closer anyway that you start to see the Iron Brew, the Coca Cola adverts, and the Marks
Yeah.
and Spencers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's one thing I miss from living in the UK, is having those ads, because that listening and watching those ads just makes me think of me being young and Christmas time and hot chocolate and
Yeah,
family cozy. Yeah, they're really good ones. And going on to the next one is Nike. So Nike build a community and an identity. So, as we mentioned earlier, they've got the Just Do It, which inspires action and confidence, and it creates that sense of belonging and empowerment within their community. They also do influencer and athlete endorsements. So, that's leveraging authority and aspiration to drive consumer behavior.
yeah. I mean, they also have like a kind of tribe mentality. Where night customers feel like they're part of that elite group of athletes and go getters, that just do it, you know. And really, that's, I mean, Nike and Coca Cola and things. I mean, while they're built on the product because that's what people buy. That's not really what people. That it's not the actual product which keep people buying. It's
Yeah.
the emotional connection that they're creating with their customers.
Yeah. So understanding biopsychology is very powerful, but how do you actually apply it to your marketing? So there is 5 different ways that you can implement this into your marketing strategies. So first will be crafting messages that resonate emotionally. So you can use emotional storytelling instead of just selling a product. That's definitely one thing I would push. Don't just sell a product in anything or a service. Nobody wants a product or a service. They want,
The
community, belonging,
the
feeling.
feeling, yeah.
How are they going to feel using your product or coming for your service?
There's actually a book called, and I apologise that I can't remember the author, but it's called Nothing Gets Sold Until the Story Gets Told. And that's exactly right. And every brand, every company, every business should actually have their own story, because that's what creates that emotional connection. And again, this is another reason why on the previous podcast we talked about having that vision, mission, and core values, because that actually hooks into your whole story about why you
Yeah.
exist in the first place.
Yeah. We'll link that book down in the description as well for anyone who wants to have a look at it. So crafting those messages that resonate emotionally, you can also highlight transformations. How does your product or service change someone's life?
Yeah, and gyms are really good at this as well. The
Yeah.
before and after. Not the people that start in January and finish up in February, but the people that actually put the work in. Because anything that's worth transforming from one thing to another takes time. And I know that from being a previous bodybuilder where, I was training 4 hours a day, 6 days a week in the gym. Um, and I got really quite large, and I was lifting heavy weights and all this kind of stuff. But it takes time, and
Mm.
that's the thing about marketing and building a brand. It doesn't happen overnight, but you've got to be consistent.
Yeah, well, I've even just started with a coach. I started with her in December, but in December wasn't very consistent. So say 3-ish months, 2.5-ish months. And it takes time, and sometimes you don't notice that you're actually growing or losing weight in
That's right.
the terms of gym, until you look back and you're like, holy crap, like, wow.
Yeah, it worked.
The second thing that you can do for your marketing is create a seamless buyer journey. And I think this one should be top. When you reduce the friction in purchasing processes, it creates a better user experience.
That's right. And,
Yeah.
and things examples of that is one click checkout, which is what Amazon is famous for. You can buy it with one click. You don't need to go through the whole process of adding all your details because they've already got your details there. Other things on like B2B websites could be like fewer form fields, or if you're using a back-end CRM like HubSpot or something that we've developed as an example, you actually can collect the information as time goes on, and you can show specific form fields to collect specific data from the customers. So when they already exist in your CRM, you can then build a profile. But what that allows you to do is reduce the amount of form fields, because data shows that the less form fields that you use means higher conversion rates. Yeah, and again, we can talk about like providing instant gratification. Things like free downloads, exclusive content, and limited time offers. A lot of that kind of stuff is always seen on a lot of B2B kind of websites. Where if you provide us with your name and email, you can get this free download, this free PDF on how to optimize your Google listing, for instance, as an example.
Yeah. Third thing, using social proof to build trust, which is what we spoke on earlier. So pop those testimonials, case studies, UGC content on your website, on your socials. Encourage reviews and engagement on social media, and you can collaborate with different influencers or industry experts, which will help strengthen your credibility.
100%.
Yep. Fourth is implementing scarcity and urgency, but ethically. So using limited time promotions to encourage immediate action, offer exclusive products or early access to increase perceived value. And you can do this for loyal customers as well. I think that's something that also gives back to them.
Yep.
And lastly, you can leverage the power of reciprocity. So provide those free resources, ebooks, webinars, consultations, content on your website, answer those questions before asking for a sale. Always provide value before asking for a sale.
That's right.
Offer a generous return policy, reduce the risk of someone for e-commerce, someone ordering and not having the ability to return if it doesn't fit how they expect it to. And it builds that loyalty as well with them.
That's right.
Yep, show your appreciation for your customers as well. Personalized thank you messages on your cards for e-commerce, loyalty rewards, programs.
Yeah.
Your customers are funding your business, so always give back to them.
Yeah, and I must say, actually, going back to the scarcity topic, one of the things you should not do is create false scarcity, which is what I was talking about earlier, where, you can buy eight now, but that eight might actually have been on there for 3 days, because what that does is it damages trust in the long run with customers, and customers aren't stupid. They will see if things aren't what they say they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You can also see some of this on, some of the offers that people produce where, they've got a final date and time, and this is when it's going to finish, and that is to try and promote the kind of FOMO effect. But there's nothing worse than having that specific date, getting in there and getting it, as someone that's actually done it, getting in there, getting whatever it is that's on offer, only to find out that they've opened it up for another 48 hours, and
Yeah.
it's just like, this, you're just playing me, yeah.
Yeah,
You're just playing me.
that annoys me. When you go and buy something and it says, "Oh, we've extended for an extra 24 hours. Get in now." And then it's just like, "Oh, so I didn't need to buy it now?" And then it
That's
just makes
exactly
me
right. Yeah,
a bit disappointed in the company, I guess.
yeah, because you've just been taken for a ride,
For a
I
ride,
suppose.
yeah. 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 So marketing's more than just, selling a product or service. It's about understanding your audience and how they make decisions. So by leveraging all the psychology that we've just mentioned in this podcast, you can build stronger relationships with your customers, drive more conversions for your business, and create messaging that truly resonates. So whether you use this, whether you're a small business or, a global brand, using those emotional triggers, cognitive biases, and trust building strategies will just set you apart from the rest.
Yeah, 100%. And I can't recommend enough that some of the listeners maybe go out and buy some of the books about persuasion, about the psychology of buying, because that will actually do more for your business than reading some of the books out there that's just about marketing in general. Because
Yeah.
it'll give you a really good deep understanding of how people think and how their behaviour can change.
Yep, and we'll drop some of our favorite self-development or psychology and business books down below in the description if you do want to have a look and maybe buy some. But that's ones that we've read and we would personally recommend you. And as well, if you do have any, you want to ask us a question or anything, feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn or by email. We're very responsive, and we love to teach people as well. So if you do have those questions, just connect with us on LinkedIn and send us a message. But that's all we have time for today. Thanks so much for all those loyal listeners that have listened to all of our episodes. We've had some really good feedback on it, which is really good and
Fantastic.
makes us really happy. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, just it's been great having people around listening. I hope that people are getting value from what we're discussing, and they're implementing some of those tactics and strategies within their own business that's helping their business grow. And I'll see you next time.
Yep, well, we'll see you next week for episode 4.
Bye.
Bye!